What is going on, boys and girls of YouTube? As you can see in the little square to the side, we're going to be doing a tier list today. Straight up, simple, straightforward tier list. I'm going to be very, very in-depth with this one because everyone seems to cry and say I don't give enough reasoning behind everything when I'm trying to go through 100 gods. I want to make it quick and to the point. This time I'll try to cover the good, the bad, every aspect, and if you disagree with me, you're probably wrong unless you're trying to shift it like from A+ to S. Who the fuck cares if it's half a fucking tier different? That's not going to change the world. If something I put in B, you're thinking it's S, you're wrong. Straight up, just going to be real with you. This is going to be based on competitive, high ranked, casuals. It's all going to be implemented. It literally will take into account everything. It's going to assume everyone is a good player and can play the god correctly. It's not, hey, I play on her jungle and I farm kids at my level. It's because they're bad and you just happen to be playing somebody that's bad. With that out of the way, let's get into the tier list. And this video, just like one a couple days ago, about a month ago now, it's brought to you by Manscaped. If you guys don't know what Manscaped is, they have an insane marketing scheme based around the best products ever, all about manscaping, grooming yourself, controlling your body, and making it awesome. So we're going to roll a few clips from my stream. A lot of people have been picking up the product. A whole lot of people have bought the products and had nothing but good feedback. So go ahead, use the link below in the comments and in the description, whichever one you want to use. Code WEEKEN will get you Code WEEKEN will get you 20% off, which is an insane deal. Most people are getting one of the packages that comes with pretty much everything. It comes with your ball deodorant, your lawnmower, your plow, everything you need, and then getting 20% off of that, and it's a big discount. So we're gonna roll this quick little message for our sponsor, and then we're gonna go ahead and get into this tier list. Manscaped, everything that you need to handle your balls. Remove the stank, remove the hair, everything you need for down there.
How you been?
Just made that up. And just think, guys, Smitten is single and ready to mingle, and you've got ball deodorant right around the fucking corner. One click away with 20% off with code WEEKEN for Manscaped. Think about it. Like I said, you get it. You can make one person happy at least. Dude, ball deodorant is easy application. It's not that powder shit. Bro, you see this? This is Manscaped ball deodorant. You lather that shit on. You lather it in there. You let it dry before you put your clothes on. It's glorious. It's like a ball lotion. You can finally shave your hidden areas thanks to your new sponsor. Damn fucking right, everybody can. Everybody can. No more bush. No more stank. No more sweaty balls. No more smelly balls. Manscaped is on the way. Thanks for helping me take care of my nut bag, bro. I got everyone's nut bags on lock. That's what I'm here for. Not really just that, but I'm here for it. Powder, dude. We got Manscaped ball deodorant, boys and girls. Does the ball manscaping? Does it work on balls of all sizes? Oh, it'll work on the biggest of balls, the smallest of balls, the most average of balls, the sweatiest of balls, the smelliest of balls, the hairiest of balls. It's all covered. You picked up the Manscaped bundle in their little carrying bag? You mean this? Right here? If you guys don't have your Manscaped yet, please, for the love of baby Jesus, go check out !Manscaped. Use the link in the chat. Get 20% off with code WEEKEN. And make your balls no longer smell bad. For the love of God. Plus, there's other stuff. That's not. I think I'm promoting that idea too much because it's just perfectly relevant to what I say. But there's a bunch of other shit on there. They have like 5 different products. They're all really good. All right, boys and girls. It is now time for the tier list to start. Remember, code WEEKEN on Manscaped. Link is below, manscaped.com. Use my link. Use my code. And there you go. So let's go ahead and jump into this. It's straightforward, right off the back. You should know where a lot of these gods are going if you've been watching competitive and you've been watching ranked. Just really, we are going to cover the 2 new gods, Horus and Set. We will do those at the very end, and it will be based off of the little bit of time I've had on them. So this may vary over the coming weeks, or they may vary over the coming weeks. All right, so Achilles, first on our list, S+. One of the top 3 solo laners right now. You have Arthur, you have Achilles, and you have Bellona, and then you have Jorm hovering somewhere in between with those 4. Pretty much in that order, Bellona and Achilles can flip-flop. Achilles, great dive, can easily juke abilities, can get in and out, has an amazing execute, very, very annoying god. Doesn't have to all in team fights, and that's one thing you're really seeing. Plus, he's a lane bully. He has high poke damage with decent sustain in lane. He's not going to beat an Arthur in a one-on-one, but after Arthur's ban, which is almost every single game, you are then seeing Achilles, Bellona, Jorm. Achilles doing a damn good job. Can't really argue with that. So S+, Achilles gets banned sometimes. Almost always picked right now. You could hover between these two. Probably not going to put anything in SS because those are just gods that shouldn't be in the game. S+ is going to be things that are picked and banned every single game. Achilles is banned a little bit, so that might make me I'll just leave him an S for now. So we can say S+ is where all those gods that should definitely be banned are going to end up. Achilles does not have to be banned. He's just one of the top 2 to 3 picks. Almost every game he's picked, and he's not picked number 1. He's usually picked a second pick as 1-2, or in the first pick side as 2-3. If you understand what I'm saying in terms of picks and bans. So that's where he's at. Agni, A tier. Just a very average, solid mage. Straight up average, solid mage. Clear early isn't the best. It's not terrible. It's really not terrible. Ability to be aggressive after level 5 is there because of the bombs. You have high control on a mage, which is very strong. Just the lack of pressure, and then the team fight range isn't quite there as it is for a lot of other mages, while also not having a CC immune ult. Makes him a little bit easier to kill, so that's why he's hovering right around A. AMC, one of the best hunters, while also having the ability to be flexed in the mid lane. Right then and there, you have a flex god that can play in 2 roles. Automatically boosts him up, makes him stronger. He is not the best hunter, and he is not the best mage, or mid lane, however you want to look at it. But he has high poke. You can go the more annoying, tankier build. You can get Blackthorn, and it's really hard to kill you. And that is just making him excel, as well as the fact that, like I said, he has the poke. He's got the annoyance, which goes really, really far when entering into team fights or getting ready for team fights. He also has the ability to burn objectives, which is really strong right now in this objective meta where enhanced fire giants are nearly impossible to kill late game. Next up is Alposh, another average middle tier mage. He is played a little bit more than Agni, so maybe I'll bump him up to A+, just to make it so it truly does make sense. Alposh gets played. Alposh is like a top 7 mage. Decent clear, able to easily dove. That's the big downside. Easily dove. You do have your ult for self-peel, but if you have these gods like Achilles, Bellona, or Ratatasker, they really make Alposh's life difficult, hard, not fun. But Alposh does do well into a lot of the gods in the game right now. So while you're not going to top pick Alposh, you will pick it right before, like as a third pick, right before that second set of bans, or even later on in the draft if it just comes up where it's super strong. On her, average hunter. Not played a whole lot right now. Can be picked up in this solo hunter sitting in the lane farming the whole game. That's not where Honor excels. Honor excels in fighting and pushing and farming and invading early. Like that's literally where Honor is going to do the most work. So that's why you're seeing a lot less on her right now. Amaterasu, B tier. She really does nothing. She's not being put into any role. She has no pressure. She doesn't excel in this meta where supports are starting with the invade or they're starting on solo side of the map. Before, when laning phase lasted a little bit longer for the duo lane, Ama was a little bit more prominent. I'm talking like season 5, points in season 5, and that's just not happening right now. So you're not seeing Ama played. There's no upside to Ama right now. There really isn't. Anubis, B tier, not safe enough. Has great pressure for the first 4 or 5 levels, has high kill potential at level 5, but then after that, as soon as anti-heal comes into the equation, Anubis is hard countered. You're never going to out-kill anybody in a team fight because you are standing still. Imagine Anubis into any of the top mages that are just going to destroy you. You're an Anubis trying to take on a Raijin from max range. You're taking on a Vulcan ult. You're taking on a Scylla ult. You're taking on any of these abilities that are just going to farm you. I mean, most of the junglers alone will easily outfight an Anubis as soon as they have Magi's online. So Anubis, once you're out of level 6, 7, 8, is just bad times. Don't recommend. Fun for casual, sure. Not a strong god. Quang, probably the most overhyped god of every season ever. Straight up. At the start of every season, Quang broken. Quang played every ranked game. How is Quang not banned in the ranked game? How is Quang not? Why isn't he being played in competitive? He's just not good. The meta shifts away from Quang every single time SPL gets started up. Every single time. So in the current meta, jungle is about farming, being able to out pressure and invade. Quang does not do that. Quang does farm, not fast, but Quang's life is like, let's farm for level 13 and let me get 3 items and then maybe we can do something. That is just not the meta we're in. It's not gonna be a prominent meta. Quang's early game is too weak. Quang's team fight is actually kind of lacking right now, especially in this meta where hunters are massive and they will one-shot an Quang, where mages are grouped as 3. Quang's not really fighting into 3-man fights around the mid camps very well, and then you're kind of avoiding a lot of the solo lane with the support being over there unless you're team invading, but then once again you're in a team fight and Quang is definitely falling off as soon as you enter a team fight. Aphrodite. I think I'm putting Afro below, like, I don't even think I've used C tier in a hot minute. There is no lane you can play Afro in and actually do anything with. Anti-heal is picked up on everybody right now because the items are very strong and almost everyone has healing in their kit these days. So no, the ult, the 2-second immunity is nowhere near enough. You will not have the pressure needed to push people off of objectives. You will not have the pressure needed to push into enhanced fire and fight on it or even just do it. You won't out heal it. It won't be a good time. Do not recommend Aphrodite. Apollo. We did see Apollo played in the SPL the other day. One time. I think he did get the win. I think it was kind of a barely win. Went a full attack speed build with Silver Branch because of the passive and just attack speed being pretty strong. I don't really recommend Apollo. He's not very safe. Yes, he has the Mez. Yes, he has a global ult. That's not coming into play right now because the ADC role is literally just about farming. That's it. Now, if they do have a Jing Wei and for some reason all the pressure is going to go to the soul lane and you know that when you're in picks and bans, maybe then you're looking at Apollo. Maybe then. But outside of that, when you're fighting over oracles, you're fighting over rotations to your own purple, to your own red, to the mid camps on your side of the map, Apollo is not up there on the pick list. It really is not. Arachne, potentially, I say potentially, for me, one of the top 5 junglers in the game, has an extremely high win rate in casual games, especially lower end games, even ranked into ranked, lower end ranked games. Extremely high win rate because throwing your 3, 1-2ing somebody will kill them. It's really hard for low level players to know how to react to auto attack gods in general, especially ones with lockdown and sustain. You also have the CC immune ult. The build people are running is the 3 katanas. So you're going Golden Blade into Stone Cutting into Hasten Katana. And then you're going Kins, Exi, Bloodforge. And you're good to go. You're full build. You're fragging out. You have extra sustain plus a shield once you kill somebody. The god is very much still an in and out god. Get in, rail somebody, play the outsides while your abilities are coming up, go back in. Go in, rail somebody, jump into your ult, wait for your abilities to come back up, land on somebody, nuke them with a big 800 damage ult, then combo them with your abilities again. Very, very strong right now. In the meta, you're able to get early pressure almost guaranteed, especially in your casual and ranked games. Now, people can run into your spiders, drop all 3 spiders on your blue buff, by the way. People can run in and ruin that, but that really doesn't happen in lower end games. People are bad. They don't know what to do. So you're hitting level 2 right off the back, and you're able to invade their red off of spiders killing blue, you killing speed, and just running straight up the mid lane to their red buff. Easy peasy early game wins. So that's putting Arachne up at a higher ranking. Ares. I'm putting Ares at B+. I think you can play Ares. I don't necessarily think Ares as a god is bad, but I think Ares into the current meta is bad. He's not going to win lane. He's not going to have good invade on the speed buff. He's not going to have dual lane pressure and fighting. It's not going to happen. And because of that, you're seeing Ares fall down. Now, if somehow it does happen, even in this current meta, where there is still a dual lane occasionally. If the dual lane comes up where it's low pressure and the other team has lots of dashes and things you can lock down and no CC immune ult, Ares can be played then. But that is very situational and you will need to build a team comp around that, and that was why he is down in B+. Artemis. I'm going to put Artemis in A. I think Artemis is just like an honor, a really average god right now. I do think the CC and fight potential early, if you are invading reds, would be pretty strong, but it's just you're coming up with a situational god that you're not going to top pick that could be played when it's right. You aren't really forcing it like you would be in Ares, but Artemis is just not going to compete with a lot of the other hunters right now. RDO, next up on the list. RDO, A tier. Support and solo. You saw her played a lot for the first few days in competitive and a little bit in ranked. She slowly fell off, and that's just because the all-out pressure isn't working in this meta where you're getting to late game almost all the time. It's really, really hard to kill enhanced fire giants, and when your support is a W King support and everyone's even level, it's just not the same threat as when RDO could get an early lead and they could just build off of it and snowball. So you're seeing RDO played a lot less. Athena, A tier. I'd rather have Athena in the solo lane than in support. Does work in both. Same old Athena, not great pressure. Taunt's really annoying. Your ability to play around corners and on objectives and just play for poke is there. But once you do get to the late game, people are going to have the Magi's Blessing. Your taunt's not going to be as useful, and you are going to be killed if you dash in or you're out of position. It's going to happen. Awilix, one of, if not the most underrated jungler right now. You're seeing it played a lot in competitive. You're seeing it played a lot in ranked. You're seeing it played a lot in casuals. That is simply because of the rotation potential with Teleria boots plus Awilix is one, on top of all the knockups that are in the game. King Arthur, Jorm, Vulcan, Jingwei, all these gods are really top tier gods that are played a lot, and when you have them just in the mix already without even trying, and then you can pick Awilix into gods with leaps and everything else that's in the game. You have Serket played a lot, you have Hunbats played a lot, you have Fenrir played a lot. When you have those gods being played, it just makes Awilix even stronger. And once you're out of level 3, Awilix is a very, very strong jungler right now. Bacchus, A tier. Bacchus literally went from top tier support all the way down to A simply because the whole let's win lane meta and duo lane has completely gone away. It might be a little bit more prominent in your casual games, but it's really hard to invade and play the solo side where the support and solo laner are fighting over pressure and totems with Bacchus. It's just not as strong. Bakasura is going to be an A+ tier jungler. Definitely way better in your lower casuals, lower ranked, by far. Once again, another auto attack god. People don't know how to deal with it. You need to be able to invade and create a lot of pressure off of invades with Baka, which is inherently what he does because he's a creepy. It's really hard to be out secured on a buff. Just have to play smart. Make sure you have your leap up. Make sure you have wards down. Make sure you have your blink, and you'll be good to go and win a lot of your lower end rank games. You can't really put him any higher because once you get into higher rank games, he does not excel in the same way. They nerfed the invade XP, so he's really not snowballing anywhere near as hard as he used to. And that's a big, big, big downside when you're playing against good players. They can play around losing a buff without losing too much farm. It happens a lot, and you just get used to it. Next up is Baron. I think Baron is one of the weaker mages right now. That while ago, he was a strong solo laner. They want him to be that hybrid mage where he's more supporty, does a little bit of damage, really hard to kill, and he just doesn't compete with your warriors like Achilles, Bellona, in your Jorm, your King Arthur. It just doesn't happen. Bastet, B+, no CC, and a very weak ult. Clear potential is pretty weak unless you get some kind of a lead, and it's really hard to get a lead. Invading on Bastet is not easy. You will definitely be out pressured in the jungle by your Arachnes, by your Awilixes, by your Serkets, your Ratataskers. You won't be able to compete with them. It just won't happen unless you have some kind of a lead off them misplaying. Bellona, S tier, another solo laner. Shocker. These are literally the two solo laners that are played in every single game right now, if they aren't banned and if King Arthur is banned. Every single game. Bellona has crazy dive, really, really tanky, good pressure in lane off of, I mean, you can level your 3 if you need to sustain, you can level your 2 if you're just looking for the quick clear, and the ability to lock down those totems early is super important, and that is one reason. Just remember, every totem is 125 gold for your entire team. If you're able to get 10 totems just off having a pressure god in the solo lane, it'll carry your team to a big gold lead going into the team fight rotations over Gold Furies and Portal Demons. Cabrakan. We saw Cabrakan played in competitive as a support with Blink Aegis. I don't like it. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's going to be a strong pick for you at any level. You're looking at a pure WK god with absolutely no peel, easily locked down, easily killed, and is really not pumping out any damage unless you're building it differently than any support would, which means you're not really helping your team and you're being a greedy support, which I don't recommend in this meta where your hunters are hitting level 20 before everyone else and all you need to do is support them. Camazotz, A+. The 5th solo laner, essentially, right now. You're seeing a shit ton of Camazotz. It's a good counter pick into King Arthur because you're able to out-sustain Arthur, get the poke, and then control the totems, which is super core. And then into other matchups, he might not win into your Bellonas, into your Achilles, but he is able to sustain enough to stalemate it. Maybe not win the lane, maybe not get every totem, but to contest some of those totems and just do what you need out of a solo laner into matchups. Say one of these is banned and you need something to be played. Cern, A tier. just doesn't create the lockdown or the pressure you need out of a hunter that's going to have that early level 20. Just doesn't create it. The damage is decent. The ability to do objectives is there because of the extra lifesteal. But outside of that, when you're looking at safety in a hunter, like hunters that aren't going to die because they have good self-peel or they have resets or they have good outs, Cern doesn't have those things, and he's just not very valuable to be played right now. Kind of just not fitting into the meta the same way Artemis and On Her also don't fit into the meta. But they aren't bad picks. People really hype up Cern. I did a top 5 ADC list, and people were just complaining, where's Cern, where's Cern, where's Cern? But he's not played because he's not super safe, and he doesn't create any more of an advantage for his team than a lot of the other hunters already do that are very safe. So you are not seeing Cern played too much at the highest level. He is played, just not too much. Cerberus, weaker Guardian. I think this is kind of an undervalued placement. He's really not played at all. Occasionally you see him in support, but he's just not played a lot right now. I haven't seen it do well when I have seen it played. I can't really attribute that to the meta or anything. I mean, he used to do decently in lane and have high kill potential. The protection shred should be awesome when you have Chronos and Freya being played a decent amount. But I think the fact that his ult is just weak into the current gods, on top of how easily it is to kill supports in general. So if a Serb jumps in and tries to get some crazy slow ult and you just auto attack him to death with your ADCs, it's pretty GG, and he just doesn't have the same value he used to have. Supports are also really far behind in this meta. Like, you notice they've always been behind, but it seems like they're extra far behind in most games right now. And if you don't have levels on the Serb, you're just not creating the value for your team that other supports can. Chalk, B+. Doesn't do anything to any of the solo laners, doesn't win any lanes, doesn't have any crazy high damage, and his late game teamfight is trash in a meta where you almost always make some form of late game. Whether you're 10k down, you're almost always level 20 before the game is over, it seems. And Chalk's just not excelling in a meta in that way. Chunga is going to go down here in B tier. A little bit above Afro because you do have a lockdown. You do have shorter cooldowns. You do have an immunity, but Chunga doesn't win any lanes. Chunga's teamfight isn't good. Anti-heal, like I said, is picked up already, so your healing is essentially doing nothing. Small resets are not too common. You can do them, but they're just not common with mages. Like, you're not seeing your Chungas, your Afros, your Raws being played because people are all in. There's lots of dive comps right now. Chernobog, A tier. I think Chernobog could be argued a little bit higher, but we aren't seeing him played a lot. I don't think he's a bad ADC. Now, we talked about Jingwei being played a lot and the ability for Jingwei to rotate into fights on the solo side of the map. And we said with Apollo, you could pick that into it if you think that's how the game's going to go. Chern is in a similar boat because you can ult over to those team fights. Now, Chern is a little bit different because you are able to clear the lane and then be in the team fight right away. Whereas Apollo, it's a little bit more delayed and the rotations are a lot different. So Cern could be played in the ADC role and you could be rotating just to your side mid camps, to the duo side mid camps, because you get there instantly with your abilities up and it's a really strong ult with the slow. I think Chernobog is a little underrated right now. I also don't mind seeing him in the mid lane because he does create pressure, and then you can churn ults into the duo lane over team fights if you are creating a lot of pressure over there, which will then lead into more gold furies. Plus, double attack gods, hunters, so double hunter or hunter Freya, hunter Chronos, really, really strong right now. Like, crazy, crazy strong right now. And I don't see it going anywhere too fast with the objectives being so hard to kill late game, and then just the ADC builds being so strong right now. Chiron, A tier, you're really only picking Chiron into gods you need CC immunity on, so for the dispel essentially. So your Athenas, Ymir's, your long stuns, that's when you're seeing Chiron picked up. Not a crazy strong god. Chronos, A+, one of the better, pretty much next to Freya. I mean, you have Freya and Chronos kind of on par as the best magical ADCs in the game. Both are very safe. Both have some form of reset or outs, and they have high damage. They are able to just sit there and farm in lane, and then they have really good rotation potential. I think Chronos has higher rotation potential than Freya because he's quicker, faster, and it's really not too bad for him to get into the fight right into the middle of it and then ult out. Whereas Freya, it's a little bit more difficult to get right into the middle of the fight, not take too much damage, and screw yourself. So I do like Chronos right now in the meta, and you have seen it played a whole lot and seen it played really well and do really well. Cullen had some big fall-offs, B+. One of the worst warrior solos right now. isn't winning poke battles, isn't going to be winning totems over and over again for your team, isn't really doing anything in the late game. He's always been a bad late game god. Every solo laner has really thought of him as early mid game, create pressure type god. And once again, meta, you're getting to late game. You're getting to Hunter's full build faster than you're getting to full build. So that's going to fuck up a god like Cullen that doesn't have true hard lockdown and is easily damaged. Cupid, B+, super situational. You're only situational? Super situational. You're only going to pull out Cupid if it's your niche pick and it's great into the team comp and your last pick. So really have to build a whole team comp around it and don't recommend a lot of Cupid. Dodgy, A tier. Okay jungler, really bad early clear, which is a downside. But then if the other team has no CC or low CC immune ults, so you're seeing gods in the game that just don't have CC immune ults. You're seeing a Wheelix, you're seeing Opwash, you're seeing Agni, you're seeing Ardeo. All these gods, you can really turn a fight. As long as you have engage elsewhere and you aren't only using the dodgy ult for engage, you can see fights turn really hard when you pull 2-3 people that don't have CC immune ults and aren't already building beads. And you can just fuck them up. It can go a long way. So Dodgy is not a bad pick right now. Discordia, I think, is one of the more underrated mid laners. The game is being played through a farming duo lane and a pressure totem getting solo lane. So if you're getting Discordia passive onto either of those lanes and they're able to push their lead even further because of it, and then Discordia gets to the mid to late game because of that pressure. Oh, it's insane. Discordia's late game is nasty. Really good team fight. Short cooldowns, high damage, high poke, which in a game where you want to do enhanced fire giant, but you actually can't, and you need to poke out the other team to the point where either they can't come in or you can full commit to them, gods like Discordia just kill it. Erlang Shen, A tier as a jungler. Maybe a support, unlikely, and not really seen in the solo at all right now. High pressure, but a lot of gods counter him, so you cannot just pick him into any team comp. It's just not ideal. Fafnir, top pick right now. He gets through most drafts and doesn't get banned, but is picked as a top pick almost every single game. I want to say pretty much every single game. Once again, a meta where burning objectives is core. Fafnir's in it. A meta where being annoying and W-keying at people with a god with lockdown, Fafnir excels in that. Super safe ults because it's going to reset you, make you safe, then you're going to be able to disengage. And then you also have the ability to chase with the ult as well. Just a perfect, like, right in the middle pick for support. Super duper strong right now. Fenrir, A+. I'm putting Fenrir in A+ because of the flex potential. Solo, jungle, support. Can play all three roles. Jungle, he's seeing more play now than he has because of the buff to the 3 and the clear. But really, you're looking at that jungle pick into gods with no way out of the brutalize. So your gods without leaps, your gods that just have straight dashes that you can just follow and destroy, or gods with no mobility at all, like Achilles. Or sorry, not Achilles, like Amos and Cab. Fenrir's doing really well into those gods out of the jungle. And then in solo lane, has decent matchups into King Arthur because you have sustain, plus you have the cancel and some abilities with the stun. And you can just have it, and you can follow through with the 3. Fenrir does do pretty well against some of the solo lane matchups. Not very common, more just seen in the Arthur. And then in support, high pressure, really annoying god. They didn't nerf him enough to where he's irrelevant, just got knocked down from S to A+. Freya, banned every game. ADC mainly. I didn't put Freya in the ADC list just because Freya is literally banned every game. I should have mentioned, yes, Freya is the best god in the game, but very rarely is she ever let through. She hard bullies, hard clears, has an amazing team fight. Damage is just really high and really annoying, and it's just very easy to snowball on. But the downside is the lack of objective control. You cannot shred objectives the same way as a Chronos or a Hunter can. It's not there. It's not what Freya does. And that's why, while I do have her at S+, in the general idea of what an ADC does, she is not the best at doing just that. She just has her own playstyle, which puts her at the top. Once again, she's banned almost every game. Ganesh saw some buffs. I think he might move up from A. I think they buffed the damage to his 1. The buff to on his 2 gives you magical prots now. And the buff from the 1 lasts longer or something like that. They buffed 3 of his abilities in some way or another. I think Ganesh is already pretty annoying, so you'll probably see him bumped up to A+ in the next tier list. But as for now, just an okay support that can be really annoying and is picked after a lot of the supports are banned. Geb, I think Geb is the best no pressure support in the game right now. So if you aren't looking at just being in their jungle the whole time, I think Geb is the next best thing. Because of the shield, because of the fucking poke, because of being annoying, because of the lockdown, all the regular shit Geb does. Plus, you're seeing a lot of gods that Geb can just do well into, like Fenrir's played a lot, so Geb will do well into that. Achilles has played a lot, Geb will do well into that, or with an Achilles on your team. It's almost nonstop where Geb can have some value, and I really like Geb solo when the warriors are taken out of the game. So if you're in a match where people just ban all the solo laners, start looking at Geb. Start doing it. Guan Yu, A tier. I think I moved him up here. He's been played a decent amount, been fairly annoying. Anti-heal is pretty prominent, but it seems like a lot of people are struggling to control the totems against Guan, and then also struggling to out-rotate some of the Guans. I mean, I guess it depends on your skill level. I can't really put Guan any higher or lower because I truly believe it's probably just based on players not knowing the matchups. We'll see once he enters into comp a little bit more. Hachi, A tier, just a very safe hunter. That's it. Nothing special, safe hunter, and most of you guys already know that. Hades, we saw some solo lane gameplay out of Hades. Hades as well into Achilles and Bellona. So you're seeing Hades actually do decently in lane. Team fight, I wouldn't say it's anywhere near as good as Achilles or Bellona, but it is a possibility and something you can play. Hebo, A tier. If Hebo's a little bit safer in some way or another, Hebo would probably be S tier. I think that's probably the same story as always, but you can play Hebo in the jungle and in mid. If you're seeing double hunters, run Hebo in the jungle on that team comp, and it's amazing. If you're just looking for crazy pressure and W key and controlling all their buffs, Hebo is awesome for that. Plus, he can lock down objectives, and you can kill the Gold Furies and stuff early, which is kind of nice. So as long as you have a comp that can keep Hebo safe, or you can just full dive with Hebo in the comp, then good luck. Go for it. You're about to smack some kids. Hell, B tier, anti-heal, and no strong lane for Hell to work in. That's all it comes down to. Hera, A+, one of the better mids. Very, very safe when you level your 1 and your 3 after that because of the shield from the 3 is insane. Plus, with the Book of the Dead build, you're double shielding. Really hard to kill. Plus, you have shells coming out. It's just very hard to kill a Hera with the self-peel she has and her defensive abilities and items. Hercules, a weaker solo lane. Not bringing much to the table. Clear is okay. Team fight's pretty mad. Late game is really bad. Anti-heal is going to hard counter Hercules, and gods like Serket are very prominent, which are already going to hard counter Hercules, so I don't recommend it. Ho Yeezus gets a buff. Ho Yeezy got a buff. So now with Ho Yeezy, with Ho Yee's ult, you don't stop moving. So before, when you throw the ult out, you would be rooted in place for a second. And it was pretty just natural. You got used to it. And now with the change, there's no more root. You just keep moving. So your ability to chase somebody down is tenfold, a million times better. It's ridiculous. You'll get on and you'll use it and you'll see it. It's very, very nice. The quality of life change literally bumps Ho Yi up to one of the top 5 hunters, I think. Maybe top 6, 7. We'll see over time. Just still not the safest, one of the more aggressive hunters. So you're going to definitely be looking for fighting over oracles and mid camps a lot if you are picking Ho Yi. Hunbats, probably the best team fight jungler next to Ratatasker. They buffed his clear a patch or two ago. 2 patches ago, I think. And his early clear is insane with the 3 because it'll bounce between creeps multiple times, which it didn't used to do. So his clear is good. And there's really no reason to not be looking at Hunbats as a top 5 jungler right now. The team fight is too strong with the big boy ults, and on top of the build's just really working for Hunbats right now. There's no reason not to play it. Isis being played more. You're seeing Isis used to be my worst god in the game. I hated Isis. For some reason, in this current meta, people have found builds and things that work. I don't know what it is. I've just seen Isis do fairly well. It is that on top of the team fight / objective control that Isis brings. I wouldn't say the team fight is strong, but the team fight on an objective is very strong because she can't be out-secured by anybody on an objective, on gold or fire. On top of that, if you're fighting in your circle on Isis, nobody can really come in or they'll take a lot of damage. On top of the healing that you will be giving your team, she just seems to do very, very well right now with the way objectives are. I mean, Enhanced Fire Giant is fucking hard, and she helps at securing that and doing that and fighting over the objectives. Izanami, they buffed. I want to put her in the A+, but I can't yet. I don't think her buff was quite that much. But her dash is now faster, and she's going to do a lot better because of that. That used to be her one downside is she wasn't safe enough because the dash was slow. It's a little bit faster. She's definitely better now. 100%. I just can't see the future and see how she's going to stack up with a full build getting to late game. Obviously, she shreds objectives because she has a steroid, but we'll see. We'll see where that goes. Janice, A tier. If you're a Janus player that can hit all your ults, sure, you could bump Janus up higher. Very rare for players to be doing that. It's just hard. It's difficult. It's not necessarily a skill thing. It's knowing pathing and kind of estimating and guessing where players are going to be. On top of you're fighting a lot in the 3v3 over mid camps early in mid game, and that's not where Janus has ever excelled. Janus has always excelled at rotating to the side lanes. Like I did say, though, there is a lot of side lane play right now, so it's not bad. Like, Janus is definitely not bad. That's why Janus is staying at A. Jingwei, the best hunter in the meta right now because she has pressure. She's able to do buffs. She's able to rotate to anywhere on the map by backing. And then she's super safe. She's almost unkillable. Knockups are one of the strongest CCs in the game. Not against her. They don't do shit. And then she has a CC immune ult, which lets you go really far. And then she can get back in the team fight almost instantly. Easily the best hunter in the meta because she's left alone just solo farming. Jorm, A+ or S. I don't know where I'd put it. I think I'm going to drop him an S with the buffs. The buffs are going to go a long way. Solo laner support, very annoying. Literally can't kill him once he ults, which makes him extra annoying. So you've got a god that can go in and disrupt you with his 2. He can slow you because he's building Gem of Ice out of the solo lane. And then he has the knockup out of the stealth, which is going to be good setup for gods like Awilix, and just good setup in general for team fights while being very annoying. And then out of that, you're tanky because you're building support or solo tanky. Then you can go into your ult and be like, hey, fuck you, you can't even hit me right now. I'm going to be extra annoying in this team fight by knocking you up and doing good damage. Jorm is strong, straight up. Kali, one of the most overrated assassins in comp right now. She's just not good. She doesn't have good early game. You're picking Kali because you know almost every game goes to late game. But even in the late game, you're looking at a god that at full build and everything is not bringing much to the table except for I'm going to enter the fight after my team and I'm going to clean up everybody before they can reset. And when you're playing that style, it can work. It's just not the strongest carry in the game, not the strongest jungler in the game whatsoever right now. Khepri, B+. You're picking Khepri if every support in the game is banned and you need a hard reset. So super situational. We saw it picked with a Zeus comp the other day. Because the whole comp was let's protect Zeus, situational comp, that's why Khepri came out. King Arthur, one of our other top picks and bans in the game. Pretty much the one god that is picked or banned in every single game, no matter what. Really only counter is super lockdown, anti-heal, and in laning phase, you're trying to out-sustain him. So Camazotz is the one god that can do that in laning phase. And then you've got gods like Serket or anything really with a cripple that can lock him down and kill him in team fights. Outside of that, he just runs rampant and he's really fucking hard to deal with. All of you already know that. Kulkin, B+ mid, not safe enough at all. Dove way too easily and isn't really creating anything other than he can clear the lane in mid and move around the map a little bit, but not safely. So it's a hard pick to go through with. Goomba, solid support pick if the other top supports are banned. Normal lockdown, really annoying, can take someone out of the fight with the ultimate. Not a bad pick at all. Kuzimbo, A tier. You don't see Kuzimbo played a lot right now, but I do think with these double attack comps coming out, so your double hunters, your Chronos hunter, your Chronos hunter plus a jungler like Mercury or Erlang, and then Fafnir, you're seeing a lot of auto attack shit, and something like Kuzimbo is going to really disrupt that playstyle over time once people start playing it. Loki, D tier, don't play him. He got nerfed. Even Loki mains don't play him anymore. Just don't do it to yourself. Medusa, one of the weaker hunters in this solo farm duo lane strat that's coming out. Medusa late game isn't crazy. Medusa is a mid game god, straight up, early to mid game. And you aren't going to be able to force the 1v1 or outpoke another hunter in the duo lane to do anything with some kind. You can't even create the pressure to try to do something with it. You're not going to out-rotate people to mid camps or oracles, so you're not seeing Medusa at all. Mercury, average jungler, picked when a lot of the other junglers are banned or the right matchups come up. He's definitely not bad. You can play him all the time because you're just looking to farm and play for the late game. And it's definitely possible. His farm is a lot higher than a lot of the junglers, which makes it so. And he's pretty safe. He's got a dash and a CC immune ult, which can go up the map. And his gank potential in lanes is where he excels. So most junglers are going to have trouble ganking duo lanes early. Duo lanes are safe gods, or they're playing safe with wards. Well, Mercury can come up the lane, can burn beads, can fight off of that, and that is a strong potential strategy out of picking Mercury as a jungler. Merlin, S tier, banned in a lot of games. I I would put him S+ if his gameplay wasn't so one-dimensional. So Merlin creates early pressure, and you play off of that throughout the whole game. If you get kills, kind of unstoppable. Except for if you run a dive comp. Dive comps will absolutely shred Merlin. So Rama ults, Ratatasker ults, Bellona, Achilles, Hunbats, Fenrir, Bakasura, all these gods are very, very good at diving the backline, and Merlin's blink is not enough range or safety to keep him from being dove. It's just not possible. Mid lanes like Nuwa are being played a lot, and there's nothing that a mage like Merlin can do. He just can't survive through that when played correctly. Neith, average hunter, probably played more in the mid lane as a pressure god when you need physical damage in the mid lane, and that's about all you'll see out of Neith. We got Nemesis, A tier. We've seen them played in ranked and comp a little bit. Not a lot, a little bit. Always average gameplay. Teamfight isn't too good. I think you're picking them if you want to kill frontline, which isn't really common right now, but it is a strategy that can come out. And overall, Nem isn't a bad god. Nem can dive, just can't dive as good as other junglers. Nem can farm, just not quite as good as other junglers. Just right in the middle of the pack as a jungler. Naja, A+. Flex pick between jungle and support. Still a very, very annoying support, and that's why Naja's so high up. Like, it's really hard to deal with a good Naja who's just sashing and ring bouncing off cooldown, sustaining, and then engaging and basically a good Naja is going to poke, get in the fight for a second, try to get you to use something. If you use it, you're going to get engaged on by the rest of the team. If you don't, Naja's just going to back out. You're seeing shield of regrowth and other ability or items picked up so that Naja can retreat very easily. Nike, I have to put Nike in A tier because of the high win rate. Super boring god, nothing crazy, doesn't win lane hard, doesn't have any good matchups, but for some reason in casuals, Nike is a winning god. That's where we're at. Nox, high lockdown, played in support in ranked, which I don't like. I don't think Nox overall is all that great in the meta because you can avoid mid lane fights very easily. Playing corners on Nox is kind of how you want to do it, but with vision being prominent on all corners pretty much, and the ability to just ignore mid lane fights if you want to. There are a lot of comps and a lot of gods right now that want to fight over 3v3s in mid. It happens. The ADCs rotate to that. Nox doesn't have to do that in the early game, and once Nox gets to mid game, she'll be okay. But outside of that, just no crazy pressure, no crazy team fight, no crazy rotations, nothing making Nox any higher than A tier. Nuwa, A+, one of the safer mages. If you're playing through dual lane or you're playing dive comp, Nuwa, solid pick. Boom. Playing for the mid to late game. Early game can be a little bit weaker, but it's good enough that you can still get all your own farm and not have to worry about being invaded. Odin, next to Loki, one of the worst gods in the game. They nerfed the ult to have no attack speed reduction. So why the fuck would you play Odin when people can pick up an active that hard counters you anyway? Pointless. Osiris, B+, weak warrior, terrible late game, doesn't win lane, no reason to play him. Pele, A+, solid jungler right now, high pressure. Team fights a little wonky because there is a lot of lockdown in team fights and you don't have a true CC immune ult. You have an ultimate that has CC immunity for a second, but playing into gods like Hunbats, into Circuits, into Rat, you're not going to outplay them in team fights. You're really going to be looking for the snowball or for your team to be doing the engaging, but you do have early pressure. You are a very annoying god. You can get in and out. You're quick. Not a bad pick whatsoever. Poseidon, A tier, another average mage, but Poseidon has early clear and has a different form of CC than people are used to. So with the Whirlpool, people usually aren't going to be beating that. With the Kraken, they're going to want to have Aegis. So adding that depth of control into your team comp can go a long way, and that's why Poseidon is in the A tier. Ra, B+, being dove too easily, the lack of resets and just sustained healing, not being in the meta, so you're not seeing a lot of Ra. Raijin, A+, one of the best mages right now in the mid lane. High pressure, good team fight, CC immune ult. Same old, same old. Rama, A+ hunter. Safe with the ults. Good god to just get to level 20 and come in and do objectives. Can solo farm people. The steroid is super strong. Nothing wrong with playing Rama. Ratatasker, one of the best gods in the game, if not... I wouldn't say the best. I wouldn't ban Rat over King Arthur ever, but I do think... Rat is the best jungler in the game. I mean, you're seeing it banned a decent amount. You're seeing it played a lot. You've got CC. You have Protection Shred if you're running double Hunter, so you have a lot of physical. The Protection Shred goes a long way. You've got knockups. You've got slows. You have really high pressure early because you're able to buy your boots out of base. And that alone, leading into the mid and even into the late game team fights, Goes a long way. Ravana, A+. Low pressure jungler, but one of the best team fight junglers that isn't creating any jungle pressure. So realistically, you're not running through the other team's jungle and just farming them. It's not happening because you have low clear. Most junglers that are being played right now have high clear, and they're able to out clear you and stay ahead of you a little bit. But into the team fights, Ravana's dive, great. Ravana's CC immunity on his 2 is fucking huge into all the gods that are being played right now. Ravana destroys gods like Raijin, which are played in mid almost every single game. If there's a Merlin picked up, you blink on a Merlin, the Merlin blinks away, then you ult on him, he's fucking dead. There's nothing he can do. There's just a lot of potential with Ravana to be played in the jungle. Scylla, if all the mages are banned, Scylla's not bad. Hit your ults, okay god, average clear, average team fight, average everything. Same shit, different day. Serket, S tier. Right below Rat in terms of pressure and what can be created through the early and mid game. It's just Serket's team fight really isn't all that fantastic. You want a hybrid build and you want to just be annoying with your team. You have to be playing around the team, or you need to be isolating somebody, which is very hard against the highest level players. Scotty, A tier. Seen Scotty played in mid and in ADC. Just as a more annoying god that wants to rotate to mid camps a lot. And Scotty can do that. Scotty can get away with it. It's fine. Sobek as a solo laner or a support if other supports and solos are banned. Sobek actually has a decent matchup into Bellona and Achilles. More so Bellona than anything. So that is a matchup you can look at if you're looking to stalemate and just play for the team fights. Sobek in a team fight is very, very strong. You're not looking at the all-in that Bellona has. You're looking at sustained peel, sustained in general, decent damage, and you're having an engage that doesn't necessarily have to put you out of position, as well as an engage that sets up your team rather than creates your team to dive. So Sobek is a strong pick right now. I almost want to put Sobek in A+. I think I am going to bump him up. Soul, A tier, mid or solo. Sorry, mid or ADC. And pretty much played if you need magic in one of those roles. You want auto attack magic and you can't get Chronos or Freya, which is pretty rare. Quang, A tier, just average, safe god, not winning lanes, not winning team fights, just can clear safely, do safe things, and do average things. Susano, A tier, picked into the right matchups, good jungler, but you need the right matchups. Sylvanas, A+, very, very strong engage right now, really strong team fight, the knockup is awesome, the sustain into objectives is awesome, the team fight setup out of the pluck when you're baiting objectives is really one of the biggest surprising abilities you can get hit by as an enemy running into an objective to try to defend it. It really, really can turn a whole fight if you're a Sylvanas player that can hit pulls. Terra, A+, as a support or solo. Both roles, very, very strong. You're looking to stalemate in the solo lane and be annoying, and it's a dive. You're looking for dive Terra. You want to hit as many people with that ult as possible. You want to hit as many squishies with that ult as possible. If you have a Terra ult proccing on somebody that's taking damage from some other source, that person is going to be knocked down to like half health easily. Like very, very easily half health. Next up on the list, we have Thanatos. I'm going to put Thanatos in A as a snowball god. It's that simple. You can play him pretty much whenever you want, but you have to snowball or you will get wrecked and you'll lose a game. Morgan, banned right now in comp. Not allowed in comp. I think Morgan's an S plus tier. I kind of want to put Morgan up here because she's really impossible to deal with. Highest pressure god, can turn into anybody she wants. Amazing team fight, one-shot potential late game. Nothing wrong with playing Morgan in the mid lane. It's just banned in comp, so hasn't been talked about a lot. Thor needs a buff, man. Average. Late game team fight shit. Almost every game goes to late game, which has always been a bane of Thor, in my opinion, since season 1. And with that, he's going to sit in A tier because he's got a decent early mid game. Thoth. I kind of thought Thoth would be better in this season, in this meta. Just not fucking competing. Dive comps wreck Thoth, and there's nothing he can do about it. But if they are running dive comp, you can pull out Thoth and just be a neutral god. Tier A, just a semi-safe solo. Not going to win, not going to out-bully people, not going to lock down all the totems. Just going to be semi-safe and have an average team fight. The high aggression is awesome, but it's not reliable right now. I did like him as a mid laner in the last tier list I made for top 5 mids, but he's fallen out. If you want to run double hunter and run an aggressive pressure hunter, pressure physical damage in the mid, sure, you can pull him out. It's not going to be a common theme. Vamana, I'd say I'd rather have Vamana in jungle right now than solo almost, just to be an annoying in-your-face god. Outside of that, he doesn't bring anything. He doesn't bring pressure, doesn't bring team fight. isn't bringing shit. Anti-heal is going to hard counter him late game. You aren't seeing a lot of Amana. Vulcan A+, solid pressure in lane. Great team fight. Have to watch out for the dive. You're really looking to stick in a pack with your team and just be around them, self-peel, and turn on anyone trying to dive you. Xbalanque, the best hunter in Smite right now, because you're solo farming on a god that gets extra power. Right then and there, you're saying, here's a hunter that hits hard as fuck, and we're going to make sure you hit 21st and you hit hard as fuck the whole game at all points in time. That alone, paired with the global ultimate, so you're in every team fight, even when you're not in a team fight, is fucking sick, bar none. Hard to match up. People are like, why is Xbalanque so common right now? It's because the solo lane is left, or the ADC is now the solo lane, essentially. Your solo player in the duo lane. You're just farming versus the other hunter, and Xbalanque is good at that. Xing 10 finally put back in the game. Haven't seen him play it at all. Dropping in a B tier. Ymir, A tier. Not a super safe support, but the W key is there, and I kind of want to see him play it a little bit at the highest level and see how he does. Zeus, not a very safe mid lane mage, but gives you pressure and has a great late game team fight. And then Zhang Kui, really good matchup into a lot of the stuff. Really good at diving, self-sustain, fairly safe for a god with no mobility, because if you are aggressed on or pressured, you just turn, alt, run at them, and then you have your team dive with you, and it goes a long way. Finally, Set and Horus. S+ and S+. Horus, going to be the best support, maybe not the best, top 2, top 3 supports by far, and also have the ability to be flex in the jungle and solo. Set, going to be the best jungler, top 3, like 1 to 3. So either the best jungler, maybe second, maybe third, in my opinion, and also able to be flex in the solo lane because his clear is very, very good. He's very, very safe clear. So he's going to be able to clear and rotate faster than most people. And then he's also able to build hybrid, tanky, and just do the same shit while being extra annoying. Doesn't have a lot of CC in the kit, which will be the downfall to the solo lane idea, but it's kind of like a Camazotz with a little bit less sustain, but safer clear. Has high potential. There's our tier list, boys and girls. Hopefully you get it, you understand it, and you agree with it. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and check out Manscaped before you go on to watch the rest of the YouTube videos that you'll see today, later today, tomorrow, all the other days.